February 28, 2026. 2:17 a.m. The sky above the Persian Gulf is moonless and silent. Lieutenant Daniel Reeves sits strapped inside the cockpit of an F-18, his gloved hands resting lightly on the throttle. The aircraft carrier beneath him vibrates with restrained power. Around him, deck lights glow dim red against the darkness. Crew members move like shadows across the steel deck. No one speaks louder than a whisper. They all know what tonight means. For weeks the tension has been building: missile tests, intercepted drones, tankers attacked in narrow shipping lanes. Washington calls it a crisis, but everyone on this carrier knows the truth. Crisis ended hours ago. Now it's war. Reeves stares through the canopy into the black horizon. Somewhere far beyond it lies Iran's coastline. Radar stations, missile batteries, air bases that have been waiting for this moment just as long as the Americans have. His headset crackles. Strike group, confirm readiness. One by one, pilots answer. Raven 1 ready. Raven 2 ready. Raven 3 ready. Reeves presses the transmit switch. Raven 4 ready. His voice is steady, but his pulse isn't. Below his aircraft, a deck crewman kneels beside the nose gear, giving a final signal. Catapult steam drifts across the deck like ghostly fog. The air smells of jet fuel and salt water. Reeves thinks briefly of home Colorado mountains, cold air, silence. Then the thought disappears. The catapult officer points forward. A sharp hand signal. The world explodes. The jet launches down the deck with brutal force. Reeves is slammed into his seat as the aircraft rockets into the darkness. In seconds the carrier disappears behind him, swallowed by night and ocean. Ahead, dozens of aircraft form up in silent formation. Electronic warfare jets, strike fighters, tankers, a whole wave of steel moving east. High above them, satellites watch. Far below, warships cut through black water, their radar screens glowing with quiet urgency. Reeves glances at his targeting display. Coordinates blink to life. Iranian coastal radar installation. Primary target. He exhales slowly. This is the opening move. No speeches, no declarations, just aircraft crossing invisible lines in the sky. Suddenly his radar warning receiver chirps. A faint signal. Someone on the coast is already searching the darkness. Reeves tightens his grip on the controls. They know we're coming. And in the distance far beyond the horizon, a flash of light rises briefly into the sky. A missile launch. The war has begun. 2:34 a.m. Persian Gulf to 120 miles from the Iranian coast. Lieutenant Daniel Reeves flies at 28,000 feet. The cockpit lit only by dim green instruments. Outside the canopy, the sky is empty and black, the sea below invisible. But the silence is deceptive. Every aircraft in the strike package moves with precise discipline. 30 jets now glide through the darkness in staggered formation, guided by encrypted data links and quiet voices over the radio. No one uses unnecessary words. Above them, an electronic warfare aircraft 10A1HE Growler begins its work. The Growler's systems reach across the night like invisible fingers, probing Iranian radar networks. Static floods enemy frequencies. Signals bend, distort, disappear. For a few minutes, American pilots become ghosts. Reeves watches his display carefully. The coastline is approaching. Distance, 92 miles. Inside his helmet, his breathing sounds louder than the engines. Raven flight, maintain radio discipline, the strike leader says calmly. Weapons free only on confirmed targets. Reeves nods instinctively, though no one can see him. His mission is simple. Destroy the radar station at Bushehr that protects a large stretch of coastline. If that radar stays alive, Iranian missile batteries will track the entire strike group, which means American jets start falling out of the sky. The targeting system locks onto the coordinates. Bushehr Coastal Defense Radar. Reeves zooms the satellite imagery. A cluster of buildings. A rotating radar dome. Surface-to-air launchers nearby. He studies it carefully. Years of training come down to moments like this. Then the comm breaks. A sharp tone bursts through his cockpit. Radar lock. Contact. Iranian early warning radar active. A voice calls across the radio. Reeves' screen lights up. Red circles begin appearing along the coastline. They see us. Almost immediately, the Growler increases its jamming power. The radar signal flickers, struggling against the electronic storm. But it's too late. From the coastline, bright streaks of light rise violently into the night sky. Surface-to-air missiles. Missile launch. Missile launch. Someone shouts. Reeves' instincts take over. He banks hard left, releasing flares that burn like tiny suns behind him. Across the formation, jets scatter and maneuver. The once perfect formation dissolves into controlled chaos. Missiles climb rapidly, their guidance systems hunting the American aircraft. Reeves watches one streak upward on his radar, closing fast, distance dropping. His jaw tightens. First combat of the war. First chance someone doesn't make it home. He pushes the throttle forward and dives toward the dark coastline. And suddenly the radio explodes with a voice filled with shock. Raven to hit. The transmission cuts off in a burst of static. Over the northern Persian Gulf, the radio goes silent for a moment after Raven to disappears. No pilot speaks. In combat, silence can mean many things. Lieutenant Daniel Reeves forces himself to focus. His jet cuts through thin clouds as warning alarms pulse inside the cockpit. One missile is still tracking him. Distance. Closing. He pushes the stick forward and dives harder, the G-force pressing his body deep into the seat. The dark sea below finally becomes visible black, waves reflecting faint starlight. Missile, 6 o'clock. The warning system announces. Reeves snaps the aircraft into a sharp roll. Another burst of flares ejects from the rear of the jet, scattering bright fire across the sky. Behind him, the missile streaks closer. For a split second, it looks like a white spear cutting through the darkness. Then the missile veers suddenly. The flares catch its guidance. A violent flash erupts behind Reeves as the missile detonates harmlessly in the empty sky. He exhales once, still alive, but Raven 2 is gone. Strike group, regroup north vector. The mission commander orders calmly. Continue toward target. No one questions the order. The mission continues. Reeves levels his aircraft and climbs again. Around him, the remaining jets begin tightening formation once more. On his tactical display, the coastline grows closer. Distance, 48 miles. But the Iranian defenses are fully awake now. New radar signals appear across his screen like sparks. Multiple air defense systems activating. Long-range search radars, tracking radars, missile batteries. Reeves knows the names well, systems studied for years in training briefings. S-300 batteries, Tor missile systems, mobile radar trucks hidden along the coast. Tonight, those systems are not diagrams on a screen. They are hunting him. The Growler's electronic warfare ramps up again, flooding enemy frequencies with powerful interference. On Reeves' display, some radar signals blink and fade, but others remain steady. One in particular, Bush Air radar, still scanning, still rotating slowly across the sky, which means Reeves still has a job. He arms his weapons. 2 precision-guided bombs appear ready on his display. Laser-guided, enough to destroy the radar station if he can get close enough. The coastline now appears faintly through the darkness. Thin strips of lights mark towns along the Iranian shore. Somewhere down there, soldiers sit inside radar bunkers, watching their screens, watching the American aircraft approach. Suddenly another voice cuts across the radio. Urgent! Bandits airborne from Shiraz airbase. Iranian fighters scrambling. Reeves' heart tightens. This just became much more dangerous. If enemy fighters reach them before the strike is complete, the entire operation could collapse. And the radar station he's supposed to destroy is still very much alive. Reeves stares at the approaching coastline. 40 miles. 39. Approaching the Iranian coastline, the dark outline of land spreads across the horizon. Lieutenant Daniel Reeves can now see the faint glow of cities along the Persian Gulf coast. Small clusters of yellow lights stretch inland, quiet and unaware of the battle unfolding high above them. But the sky is no longer empty. His radar screen suddenly fills with new contacts, fast-moving, climbing rapidly. Bandits confirmed, the mission commander says. Multiple fighters lifting from Shiraz. Reeves zooms the radar display. 4, maybe 6 aircraft. Their speed and climb rate leave little doubt. Iranian interceptors. Inside the cockpit, the tension tightens like a wire. The strike group was meant to slip in quickly, destroy coastal defenses, and leave before enemy fighters arrived. Now the timing has changed. Raven flight, stay on mission, the commander orders. Escort elements engage bandits. 2 American fighters peel away from the formation immediately, accelerating west toward the incoming contacts. Their afterburners glow like blue fire in the darkness. Reeves watches them disappear on his radar. Then he forces his attention back to the target. Distance, 27 miles. The Bush Air radar station is now clearly visible on his targeting screen. Satellite images update with real-time infrared feeds from drones orbiting high above. The radar dish spins slowly. Still active, still searching the sky, which means missiles can launch at any moment. A warning tone interrupts his thoughts. New radar lock. This one closer. Reeves swallows. Surface-to-air battery. Raven for targeted, he says calmly over the radio. Copy, the commander replies. Stay low and push to release point. Reeves begins descending. His jet drops toward the coastline, slicing through thin cloud layers as the ground rises to meet him. The ocean disappears behind him. Now the land spreads out below. Roads, buildings, industrial lights, and somewhere just ahead his target. Suddenly, a distant explosion flashes high above the clouds. One of the escort fighters has engaged the Iranian interceptors. Seconds later, a voice shouts across the radio. Fox 3. An air-to-air missile streaks through the night. Reeves hears the distant roar of afterburners somewhere above the cloud layer as jets clash in darkness, but he cannot look up. He is seconds from the release point. Altitude, 8,000 feet. Target lock solid. The radar station appears clearly on his targeting pod now. The rotating dish stands on a metal tower surrounded by small concrete bunkers and parked vehicles. Soldiers down there are probably staring at screens filled with American aircraft. They still don't know which one is about to erase their radar. Reeves steadies the aircraft. 5 seconds to release. Then suddenly the cockpit screams with a new warning. Missile launch. From somewhere ahead very close. Reeves' eyes widen. The radar site isn't just a radar site. It's a trap. Bushehr coastline, Iran. The missile rises from the darkness like a spear of fire. Inside the cockpit, Lieutenant Daniel Reeves' warning system screams again. Missile inbound. Range. Dangerously close. There is no time to think. Reeves slams the control stick right and punches the countermeasure switch. Flares erupt behind the jet, scattering burning fragments of magnesium into the night. The missile streaks upward, cutting straight through the darkness toward him. For a split second, Reeves can actually see it, a white-hot trail racing through the sky. He pulls the jet into a brutal climbing turn, the G-forces crushing against his chest. The aircraft shudders violently as he pushes it beyond the comfortable edge of its performance. The missile follows. Its guidance system hunts the heat of his engines. Then the flares ignite brighter than the jet exhaust. The missile hesitates. 1 long second. Then it veers sharply away. A violent explosion tears the sky behind him. Reeves exhales hard, but the attack run is broken. Altitude climbing again. Release window missed. Raven 4, you overshot. The commander calls. Reeves curses under his breath and banks back toward the coastline. The radar station is still there, still rotating, still tracking every aircraft in the strike package. And now the entire Iranian air defense network knows exactly where he is. Below him, the radar installation comes back into view through the targeting pod. The spinning dish, the bunkers, the vehicles, and something new. 2 missile launchers positioned beside the radar tower, camouflaged earlier, now clearly visible. The trap that nearly killed him. Reeves adjusts his approach angle. This time he will come in lower, faster, more dangerous. Above the clouds, the distant dogfight grows louder on the radio. Bandit defensive, missile active, brake left. Reeves hears the thunder of jets somewhere high overhead, but he cannot see them. He is alone down here, alone with the radar station. Distance, 6 miles. He drops to 2,000 feet, flying just above the coastline. Buildings and roads blur past beneath the jet at nearly 600 miles per hour. Target lock returns. The radar dish fills the screen. 4 seconds to weapons release. 3. Suddenly a new voice shouts across the radio sharp with alarm. Additional launches from inland batteries. Reeves' threat display lights up like a Christmas tree. Multiple radar locks. Missiles preparing to fire. He has seconds. 2 seconds. 1. Reeves presses the weapons release. The bombs drop from the wings, but before he can even watch them fall, 3 new missiles erupt from the darkness below, and this time they are all aimed directly at him. Bushehr Coastal Defense Zone. 3 missiles tear upward through the night sky. Inside the cockpit, Lieutenant Daniel Reeves' threat display erupts in flashing warnings. Every alarm tone blends into a single shrill scream. Missile, missile, missile. Reeves doesn't hesitate. He slams the throttle into afterburner and rolls the jet into a violent dive. The F-18 drops toward the dark coastline like a falling blade. The ground rushing up fast beneath him. Behind the aircraft, flares burst into the air again, bright burning stars scattering across the darkness. The first missile streaks directly into them. A brilliant explosion flashes behind the jet, briefly lighting the clouds. But 2 more missiles keep coming. Reeves' eyes dart across his instruments. Altitude, 1,500 feet. Speed, increasing. He pulls the aircraft hard to the left, skimming just above the coastline. The sea flashes beneath his wingtip, black waves reflecting distant city lights. The second missile chases him stubbornly, adjusting its path with deadly precision. Too close. Reeves banks again, sharper this time. The aircraft groans under the pressure as he pulls nearly every ounce of maneuverability from the jet. Then the missile loses lock. Another explosion tears the air behind him, but the third missile is still there, still tracking. His radar warning system screams louder. The missile closes fast. Reeves glances at the rear display. Distance, less than a mile. He grits his teeth and makes the most dangerous move a pilot can make this low. He climbs sharply. The jet rockets upward toward the clouds. For a split second, the missile follows directly beneath him. Then Reeves rolls the aircraft upside down and dives again. The sudden maneuver confuses the guidance system. The missile streaks past his last position and detonates far below over the dark water. Reeves breathes again, but only for a moment, because far behind him, two small shapes are now falling toward the radar station. The bombs. He banks the aircraft just enough to watch through the targeting pod. The radar dish is still turning, still searching. Then the first bomb strikes. A blinding flash erupts across the compound. The radar tower disappears inside a massive fireball. Shockwaves ripple outward, throwing vehicles and debris across the ground. A second explosion follows seconds later. The entire radar complex collapses into flames. Across Reeves' cockpit display, the radar signal vanishes. Just like that, Bashir's eyes go dark, but the radio suddenly fills with new urgency. Strike group, multiple Iranian fighters approaching fast. Reeves looks up toward the cloud layer. His radar begins detecting them. For fast contacts diving toward the strike package. Iranian interceptors. And now the Americans are deep inside Iranian airspace with enemy fighters seconds away. The burning radar station fades behind Lieutenant Daniel Reeves as his jet climbs back toward the strike group. The orange glow of the destroyed Bashir complex flickers on the horizon like a dying torch. For a brief moment, the mission seems successful, but the war is just beginning. Strike group, bandits closing fast. The commander warns. Reeves' radar confirms it instantly. 4 Iranian fighters descending rapidly from the north. Fast, aggressive. Their radar signatures are unmistakable interceptors. Scrambling to defend the coastline. The American formation tightens. Escort fighters reposition around the strike aircraft like shields forming around a convoy. Raven 1, Raven 4 hold formation. The commander orders. Escort engaging. 2 U.S. fighters surge forward, afterburners blazing. Their engines leave long blue flames cutting across the darkness. Above the cloud layer, the first visual contact happens. Bandits tally. Reeves glances upward through the canopy. Dark silhouettes streak across the stars. Then the radio explodes with combat calls. Fox 3, Fox 3. An American air-to-air missile launches. Far ahead, a bright spark flashes as the missile motor ignites, streaking toward one of the Iranian fighters. The Iranian pilot reacts instantly, rolling into a defensive maneuver and releasing countermeasures. Flares scatter through the sky like burning confetti. Reeves watches the tiny dance of light in the distance. The missile curves sharply, then detonates behind the enemy aircraft. Miss. The dogfight has begun. The Iranian fighters split apart, diving directly toward the American strike group. They are trying to break through. Reeves' radar suddenly locks onto one of them. Distance, 12 miles. The interceptor is moving fast, closing directly on his position. Raven for defensive, he calls. The Iranian jet grows larger through the canopy. Both aircraft see each other now. Reeves arms his air-to-air missile. A sharp tone fills his headset. Lock acquired. For a split second, the two pilots race straight toward each other in the darkness. Two strangers from opposite sides of the world. Both trained for this moment. Both knowing only one may leave alive. Reeves presses the trigger. Fox 3. The missile rockets from his wing, igniting into a brilliant streak of fire. The Iranian pilot reacts instantly, rolling his aircraft hard and dumping flares across the sky. The missile chases him through the darkness. Faster, closer. Reeves grips the controls as the seconds stretch painfully long. Then suddenly, the entire sky flashes white. A massive explosion erupts far ahead. Debris scatters across the night. But Reeves can't celebrate, because another warning suddenly screams inside his cockpit. New radar lock. Behind him, another Iranian fighter has slipped through the chaos, and this one is already firing. Southern Iranian airspace. The warning alarm inside Lieutenant Daniel Reeves' cockpit erupts again. Missile lock, but this time it's coming from behind. Reeves twists his head instinctively, searching the darkness beyond the canopy. For a split second he sees a 10 Iranian interceptor, diving through the clouds behind him. Its afterburners glowing like twin blue flames. Too close, and already firing. A bright flash bursts from beneath the enemy jet's wing. Air-to-air missile. Missile behind Raven 4. Someone shouts across the radio. Reeves reacts instantly. He slams the stick forward and rolls into a steep descending turn. The jet shudders as he pulls hard G-forces, the horizon spinning wildly outside the cockpit. Flares burst from the aircraft again, filling the sky behind him with burning sparks. But this missile isn't fooled easily. The guidance system cuts straight through the flares, adjusting its course. Still chasing, distance closing fast. Reeves' breathing grows heavier inside the helmet. Altitude dropping. 10,000 feet. 8,000. He pushes the aircraft harder, diving toward the thin cloud layer below. The jet tears through the clouds in a burst of vapor, briefly blinding him with white mist. Then the ocean appears again beneath the aircraft. Black, cold, endless. The missile screams closer. Inside the cockpit, the alarm tone becomes continuous. Impact seconds away. Reeves knows there is only one option left. He pulls the jet into a violent vertical climb, pushing the engines to maximum power. The F-A-18 rockets upward through the night sky like a missile itself. The pursuing weapon follows directly behind. Then Reeves performs the sharpest maneuver of the night. At the peak of the climb, he rolls the aircraft sideways and dives again. The missile overshoots. For one fragile moment, it streaks past the jet. Then it detonates behind him in a massive flash of light. The shockwave rattles the aircraft violently, but the jet survives. Reeves steadies the controls, breathing hard. Behind him, the Iranian fighter is still there, but now two American escort jets dive toward it. Bandit engaged. One pilot shouts. Missiles launch again. Seconds later, another explosion tears open the darkness. The Iranian interceptor disappears in fire and debris. For the first time since the mission began, the sky grows quiet. Reeves climbs back toward the strike formation. Below, the Iranian coastline burns where the radar station once stood. The first objective of the war has been completed, but as the American aircraft turn west toward the carrier group, new radio chatter begins filling the channel. Missile launches reported across the region. Naval fleets moving. Airbases scrambling aircraft. Reeves stares at the dark horizon ahead. Tonight was only the opening strike, and everyone in the sky knows the truth now. The first hours of the war are just beginning.